how have you been? Let's start this interview kind of formal. How have you been?
I have been great. Yeah, I've had a really lovely summer. Yeah, thank you.
Now let's jump right into the question.
Okay, here we go.
How did you get your start in poetry and like English and all these things?
All these things. I always joke that I like accidentally became a poet because I was always a writer. I loved writing in my journal from the time I was 12 and writing stories even in elementary school. And when I was in college, I took an intro to creative writing class, and I thought that I would be just like bored during the poetry unit and I would suffer through it, and I was taking it for fiction. But instead, joke was on me, I fell in love with poetry because the professor was a poet and she was really fantastic. So
Like Dead Poet Society.
yeah, I mean, she changed my life. She was a really, really incredible poet and teacher. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Question number 2.
Yes.
What motivates you to keep playing and sharing your art?
Oh, I love that question. I don't know why, but I'm hugely motivated, and I've become more so as I've gotten older. I think there was a time that I wondered, was that just something I did in college? I wrote poetry and now I'm done. But no, I really love feeling like, I don't know, this might sound weird, but I feel like teaching is almost a service. Like, I enjoy it deeply, don't get me wrong, but it feels like it's for other people, and poetry feels like it's just for me. And I don't know if that's true, but it is the thing that makes me feel the most like myself. I just kind of check in with myself, and it's how I process everything in my life. And I don't know, I get so much happiness from writing. So yeah.
That's awesome. How does your art connect with the community?
Oh, I hope it does. I don't know. That's a great question. It informs my teaching a lot. You know, I always, as you know, sneak in poetry as, you know, in my lessons, in my curriculum. And I think if I'm good at teaching one thing in this world, it is teaching people to write poetry. Even sometimes people who think they have no interest in it, I think I'm pretty good at making them see it another way. I really love how encouraging people are about my work. Like when I had the essay in the March Sadness competition, it was like the whole community of Seabury came together and was so supportive. And I don't know, I think sometimes of poetry as a solitary activity, but I think that there are opportunities to connect to the world, even the local world, more than I think. So.
Number 4.
Yeah.
What kind of legacy would you want to leave behind?
I never think like that. Wow. Legacy seems so major. It's an interesting question for someone like me who doesn't have children, like by choice. And so I think a lot of people think of legacy as like their generational line or something, and I don't have that. And so I guess I do like the idea that maybe any books I write are like an artifact from my life, even though they're all from very small publishers and I'm not famous. So it's not like, you know, people will be reading me hundreds of years from now.
You won that national poetry thing. That's
yeah,
awesome.
Well, thank you. But still, I don't know. But I do love the idea that there's like, it's a record. It's a record of my life. It's almost like public diaries or something. And they exist. Whether or not a large audience encounters them, they exist. And so I guess the idea of legacy is just, I was here, you know, and I existed, I contributed, and I did what I loved, and hopefully other people enjoy it too. So.
That's cool. Yeah, that's very philosophical.
Well, thank you.
Final question.
Okay.
What advice would you give to young people who are interested in creating and sharing their own art?
I love that question. I think this might sound so silly, but I think figuring out your own goals is really important. Like, sometimes a student will ask me to read a poem they've written, and I'm always curious before I do, like, is this something you just wrote for yourself, or is like, are you wanting to start down a path of becoming a poet and like sending work out for publication? Because my feedback might be different depending. And I think when people just want to write for themselves, then they should just do that and write as much as they want, fill up every journal, pour their hearts out. And if they are actually wanting to walk down the road of getting their work seen by other people, then I think it becomes a more serious study. Read a lot of poems, take classes, eventually send your work out for publication, and just know that you'll get rejected like 90% of the time, no matter how good you are. And you have to sort of make yourself built for that. I once read this article called Why You Should Aim for 100 Rejections a Year. I read it 10 years ago, and every year since then, I've aimed for 100 rejections a year, and I usually get pretty close. I only fall short if I don't send out enough work, but for every publication I get, there's about 20 rejections behind it. So it can be really disheartening, and that's why I really want to ask students, like, are you just wanting me to say nice things because I'm very good at finding the beautiful in especially my students' work, because I love them and there's so much good there already. But like, if you're wanting some actual like criticism, I can do that too. And I just want to know which it is, because I don't want to break any hearts or like ruin any dreams. So, but I don't know. Yeah, I think depending on what your goals are, that would depend on my advice. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
okay, good. Good.